Police misconduct around the country is costing cities huge sums of money every single year, and the settlements are only getting bigger and more numerous as the years actually pass. So the LA Times had a great breakdown of some of the recent settlements here just in LA. The county's annual payouts because of misconduct have jumped from $5.6 million to nearly $51 million during just the last 5 years. A gigantic leap because of illegal acts taken by police. So that $51 million is a lot of money, and you might think, well, how can the police afford to pay that? Well, they can afford to pay that because they're not paying that. If you live in LA, if you're paying taxes, you're paying for that. Now, how does this actually break down? How do you get to $51 million? Well, $6 million went to a woman who had been raped by a sheriff's deputy during a traffic stop. $7 million resolved multiple lawsuits after deputies in West Hollywood mistakenly shot 2 hostages, killing one and seriously wounding the other. And then there's a variety of other settlements having to do with sexual assault, excessive force, shooting unarmed suspects, and wrongful imprisonment. Now, some of these things are going to happen in a city of this many police, this many people. Hostages do occasionally get shot. These are tense situations. But I believe you reported on that situation. They apparently went in guns blazing. They shot up the car with a couple of women thinking it was a suspect at some point. It's this sort of just crazy behavior, shooting before thinking and having very little accountability that ends up costing the city $51 million in addition to all of the lives lost.
Right, so I think oftentimes when we talk about the issue of better police training and police brutality, what happens is we will look at one very specific case of a specific person who was shot and killed, an unarmed individual, whether it's Walter Scott or Tamir Rice. We'll look at that case and we'll immediately judge the individual who was shot and killed. And so the conversation isn't really about a broader context and what we're seeing among police throughout the country. And the reality is, regardless of what you care about, let's say you don't care about these victims at all and you think that they're all so-called thugs and criminals and they all deserve to be shot and killed even if they were unarmed. Okay, we'll take that part out of it and focus on how this type of behavior personally affects you. This is your taxpayer money, okay? So when these cases need to be adjudicated, when these settlements need to be paid out, when these judgments are read and these police departments have to pay whatever the judge decides is the proper amount that the victims deserve, that is your money. It is not the cops, right? And so I'm not going to sit here and say all these cops are terrible. And so, no, that's not what I'm trying to say at all. What I'm trying to say is bad police behavior and a lack of effective training affects every single one of us, regardless of what our race is, regardless of what our socioeconomic status is. And that's why it's important that we hone in on this issue and find real solutions. If we see bad behavior and we know that that bad behavior is accurate, like it's reported accurately and we have evidence for it, there needs to be proper consequences and we need to train them better. There needs to be a little more hesitation before shots are fired. And right now it seems like there's no hesitation at all. I mean, a cop raped someone and the county had to pay $6 million. $6 million, that's our money.
And that's just one of the sexual assaults that were settled in LA. And so as you point out, this affects everybody. It also affects every city, basically. This is not just an LA problem. So LA Times did a great job getting that information, but then I cast a wider net. And I looked for evidence from around the country and I found it. This is a growing problem. Let's see, New York City spent $228.5 million settling police misconduct lawsuits just in 2016. That works out to $27 for every single New Yorker. Washington, D.C. paid at least $31.6 million in court judgments or settlements since 2005. And the Chicago Sun-Times reported back in 2014 that the city had already paid out nearly $500 million in settlements over the past decade. That's not including 2015 and 2016. And I think you can think of some legal troubles with the police in Chicago in those years. So this is a problem that goes from big cities to small. The numbers for Baltimore were incredibly high. This is affecting if you're in a city, it's affecting your state if not. And there are ways we can deal with this. And if we reform the way that police are trained, we don't just get more justice on a daily basis. We don't just stop people from being killed unnecessarily. We can also save an incredible amount of money that can be reinvested into communities and can produce a lot of good over time.
The whole point of having police is to go after the bad guys, protect the good guys. not to have the cops act as the bad guys and then have us foot the bill as a result.
Exactly. Yeah, these numbers are just ridiculous, but there is something we can do about it. Unfortunately, we're unlikely to get any help at the federal level in the next few years. We know what Jeff Sessions is, we know what he represents, but it's still possible to change things at a local level, certainly at a state level, and you can ward off some of these unnecessary crimes and the settlements by doing that.
If you're a member of the Young Turks, you not only get the whole 2-hour Young Turks show on demand anytime you want, ad-free, but you also get so many other shows. Old School, you'll love it. Aggressive Progressive for guys who are true progressives. Now also Nerd Alert for gaming and tech. What to Flick for movie reviews. You will love it. Check it out right now at tytnetwork.com/join.